On air, people. We are live. And welcome to Live with Sean Spencer, your boy. Yo, so glad to be here with you guys.
That sun shining on you. Always put yourself in a position where the sun shines on you.
One more time. It is your boy, Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo does Let's Talk Football. I came on here a little bit earlier. I tried it. It did not work. Okay, we're here. We're good. We're good this time. What's up, people? How are you doing? It's Wednesday. Wonderful Wednesday. Your boy is back here to talk some football. Trying to get in here and get down with you. I tried earlier, but hey, when you go live, sometimes there are technical difficulties, and we do what we can. Okay, we do what we can, and I messed up a little bit, but thankfully had some people in the comments that were looking out, and we're back. We're back on. We're gonna try to give it to you, this football talk, and just do what I love, man. Hey, I'm so excited. We are a week and a day away from football. The Hall of Fame game is next week, ladies and gentlemen, and I could not be more thrilled for that game to happen. I know it's preseason. A lot of people are sitting here like, preseason? For real, Sean? You're really into that? Yes. Hear me. Pad-on-pad contact. The first actual game, downs, touchdowns, whistles, some little symbols of fans, just any kind of football. I need it. It's been since, February, early mid-February, when the Super Bowl happened. Seahawks won the championship. They won it all, and it's been that long since I've been out here talking with y'all, man. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it could not come back any sooner. DJ Pooh's in the building. What's going on, man? Listen, I'm back. I'm ready to talk some ball. Football is here, and I'm so excited about it. And we are going to dive into a couple of things on today. Gonna get into that Hall of Fame spotlight, talk about the guys that are getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. Gonna talk about the NFC East and kind of, how I think things are gonna look. What are the things to watch for in each of the teams in that division? And then gonna talk about the top 5 signings coming into 2026 and how they'll impact their team. I'm excited to get into it, ladies and gentlemen. You guys talk to me. Let me know how y'all feel. Let me know what team y'all rep. I'm Washington all day long, even down here in Carolina in enemy territory, but I will always rock that burgundy and that gold. And you know how we get down, man. Got to talk all hail, man. Hail to my Commanders. We're going to get down with it. We're on air, brought to you by Off the Wall Media. This is Off the Wall Sports with your boy, Sean Spencer. I appreciate y'all tuning in. But look, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's talk about it, ladies and gentlemen. Like I alluded to, a week and a day away. Next Thursday, August the 6th, the Hall of Fame game will be here. We will officially be back to some kind of football. I know preseason, I'm not concerned with that. I just need some kind of football. We will be back, which also means that these guys will get inducted into the 2026 Pro Football Hall of Fame, man. These are the 2026 Pro Football Hall of Fame inductees. I'm going to shout them out real quick. Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, Luke Kuechly, Adam Vinatieri, and Roger Craig. Yo, shout out to them. Congratulations on making it. Some number of them are first ballot Hall of Famers. They are all great players. Shout out to Roger Craig finally getting in. I did my first Hall of Fame spotlight on him. The first running back to have over 1,000 yards rushing, over 1,000 yards receiving in a season, ladies and gentlemen. And that season, he actually had 92 receptions in that year. And I believe he was also the first player in NFL history to score 3 touchdowns in a Super Bowl game. And that was in 1985 in Super Bowl 19, where the 49ers beat the Dolphins 38-16. MVP Joe Montana, he had 2 receiving touchdowns, Roger Craig did, with a rushing touchdown included. So shout out to Roger Craig finally getting in. I'm so glad it's been so daggone long. He retired in 93, and now he eventually gets in 2026. So what is that, 33 years? Excuse me, till he got in. So congrats on him finally making it, finally getting in there. I talked about Larry Fitzgerald just 2 days ago on Monday. Second in receptions, second in receiving yards, only to Jerry Rice. I mean, absolutely one of the best wide receivers of all time. And I mean, stellar career, close connection with Randy Moss, and was actually the Minnesota ball boy when he was younger, when Moss was playing. So he got a firsthand look at Randy Moss and all that. I talked about him and all the things that he was able to do. Today, my Hall of Fame spotlight today, ladies and gentlemen, is the only quarterback on this list of Hall of Famers in this one, and that is the first guy I mentioned, Drew Brees. Ladies and gentlemen, the Hall of Fame spotlight, Drew Brees, who is the second all-time in passing yards and in passing touchdowns, man. Gotta shout out the great Drew Brees, over 80,000 passing yards. I mean, let me repeat that, man. 80,000 passing yards, 80,358 to be exact, and over 570 touchdowns. I believe 571. Second all time on that list, man. Drew Brees, absolutely stellar career, guided the New Orleans Saints to Super Bowl 44, a victory. He was the MVP. They beat the Colts 31-17 in that 2009-2010 season. Famously, it brought the city of New Orleans together. Just suffered, through Katrina not too long before that, and for them to come together in that situation and surrounded by a team and have them end up winning it all, man, it was such a beautiful sight. And one of the things I remember most about that game was, the game was close, and right at halftime, I remember, Sean Payton called an onside kick, and it's such an impactful play. They end up getting the ball back, steal a possession, score a touchdown, and obviously they get the pick six to seal it and beat Peyton Manning and the Colts 31-17. So shout out to this guy, Drew Brees. Absolutely amazing career. 13 Pro Bowl selections, 5-time All-Pro, and even he had, I believe it was a 2-time AP NFL Player of the Year. I mean, the guy was absolutely incredible. And also in 2006, he was a Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year for all of the charity and his charity work and his leadership in the community, man. So shout out to Drew Brees. The guy was electric. I mean, and he played up until 2020 and got them to the divisional round, only losing to Tom Brady and the Bucks. And the Bucks were on their way to winning the Super Bowl against the Chiefs that year, man. But Drew Brees, absolutely amazing. And it's funny. So Drew Brees was drafted in 2001, drafted out of Purdue, picked up by the Chargers, had that, a couple years with the Chargers, and the story really starts kind of in that 2004 draft where, Eli gets picked first by the Giants, and then he's saying, Eli gets picked first by the Chargers and saying, look, I'm not going to San Diego. I'm not doing it. And so then the Giants ended up picking who they picked up, Phillip Rivers. So there was that draft day trade. Eli then goes over to the Giants, and obviously the rest is history. When Phillip Rivers goes to the Chargers, and that's where Drew Brees was. Drew Brees still stayed as a starter for about 2 more years, but then he had a severe shoulder injury on his throwing shoulder. So, he had to go through, get surgery for that. When it came time to kind of get a new contract, the Chargers, they kind of offered him a contract, heavily incentivized, but very little guarantees. They were obviously very cautious of that shoulder. So Drew Brees said, hey, look, I'm going to go try the free agent market. That's when Nick Saban, the great Alabama head coach, was in the NFL coaching the Miami Dolphins, and they wanted him. They wanted Drew Brees badly. But when Drew Brees had his, physical for the Dolphins, the doctors were saying, like they flag failed him because of the shoulder, and they just didn't think it was going to be ready. I think it was like a 25% chance that he was going to have a full recovery. They really didn't feel like things were going to work. So they ended up trading for Dante Culpepper. Shout out to Dante Culpepper, but when you look at the grand scheme of the NFL careers, hey, things happen for a reason. Drew Brees ends up signing with the Saints on March 14th of 2006. 6-year, $60 million deal. Plays the next 15 years over there. I mean, hey, that's what it's all about, man. Shout out to Drew Brees. He deducted first ballot Hall of Famer, man. The guy is electric. He's amazing. One of the better, if not, second best. A lot of people have him in their top 10 all time. Definitely have to put him in your top 10, top 5 of the 2000s. And the numbers speak for themselves. 80,358 passing yards, 571 TDs. Not the tallest of quarterbacks, and the prototypical quarterback is a 6'4" and above, 6'3" and above, something like that. And I believe he's around 6 foot. You know what I mean? So shout out to Drew Brees, man. What he was able to do for the Saints. They really have not been the same since he left. And hey, this is it's well deserved. Well deserved. Drew Brees, Hall of Fame spotlight. He's in there. He's going to be inducted. So shout out to Drew Brees getting into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Yeah. So look, he's one of 5 inductees. I mentioned Drew Brees. I talked about Larry Fitzgerald. Stick with me next time when they talk about Luke Kuechly as in the Carolina Panther great. And when he goes in and joins, and then obviously Adam Vinatieri, one of the very few special teams guys that's actually going to get in there, man. So shout out to Drew Brees. Shout out to that. But look, we got to switch it up. We got to move this thing along. And before we do, we're going to hit you with a quick commercial, and then we are going to talk a little bit about these top 5 free agent signings. There's a number of guys that went a lot of different places, and I think this is going to be interesting to talk about it and see kind of the impact that these guys might have on their new team. So shout out to my guy Anton Benson of Awesome Artisans. Definitely tune in to him. He does great work. He travels, lives in the Virginia Beach area, but he will definitely travel to you, man. This guy's a top flight, top tier cat, man. Definitely gonna get at him. Be right back. Yeah, buddy. Shout out to my guy, Anton Benson of Awesome Artisans. He is on Facebook. He's also on Instagram. Awesome_artisans on Instagram. He posts all the work he does. I was actually able to work with him, help him out, worked in the yard. We worked in an office building. The dude stripped it down. We painted it. He put in like kind of doorways. I mean, he did amazing work, man. Shout out to him. I know our buddy, Anton ended up putting in an indoor closet for a good friend of mine's family, man. So the guy does great stuff, man. He absolutely does great work, and I'm so hyped to know this guy. He's definitely hard worker. So definitely get at him if you need some work done, man, because he will He'll come correct for sure, for sure. But look, we're back, man. Football season is literally, we're right at the doorstep. We are a week and a day away from the Hall of Fame game. Training camp has already started. We're sitting here getting ready, man. I can taste it. High school practices have started. Football, the helmets are issued, man. This is the time of year I would love, man. Let me put the helmet on. Let me strap up. Let's get going. Let's get ready. Let's get popping, man. So I'm so excited for it. And so if these college and high school and all that stuff's happened, the pro is right around the corner. So we got to discuss it. There have been a lot of off the field signings, a lot of things, a lot of players have gone different places. Yesterday, I talked about the top 5 trades that happened this offseason. I think it was Myles Garrett. I know, and he was traded. He went to the Rams. Then Jared Verse went over to the Browns. Trent McDuffie came from the Chiefs to the Rams. A couple other guys. Dave Montgomery went to the Texans. You know what I mean? AJ Brown went to the Patriots. A number of moves have been made, and I think it was Dexter Lawrence. I think he was the other guy that went to the Bengals. Number of those moves have been made, and hey, look, those their impact on that other team is going to be epic. It's going to be elite, and it's going to be something that I look forward to seeing. I want to see how they help the team, if they can lift up that team, if they can play to the expectation of what these teams want from them coming onto their team. So I'm down for it. But look, today there was also on that list, and shout out to Matt Bowen, writer from the ESPN. He was the one who, this is his list of guys. There's a couple of guys that were out there. So I wanted to just kind of talk about some of the top 5 guys that he had mentioned. Top 5 signings, NFL signings coming into 2026, man. Number of guys got picked up, moved different places, and are expected to have legitimate seasons, or at least help impact the team that they're on. Hey, you see it down there. Trey Hendrickson going from the Cincinnati Bengals. Then he got signed by the Ravens. Kyler Murray, once of the Arizona Cardinals, he gets picked up by Minnesota. Tyler Linderbaum, and that move is huge. It's going to help the Raiders' offensive line. Now that with the Indiana quarterback and reigning Heisman Trophy winner Fernando Mendoza. Now they signed him. Although right at the moment, I know it's not Kirk Cousins is technically the starter. Who knows if he will remain the starter come season, but that's what it is right now. Mike Evans from Tampa to now San Francisco, all the way across country. And then Jalen Phillips going over to the Carolina Panthers, man. A number of moves and signings have been made. We're going to dive into it. Let me know what you think the biggest signing that was made this offseason. What is the biggest one of impact? And I think we got to start with Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson was an absolute monster when he was with the Cincinnati Bengals. And that's saying something, because the Cincinnati Bengals defense has struggled. Cincinnati Bengals defense has literally been the weakest part of that team, and a team that has epic players. You're talking about Joe Burrow, who's considered top 5 quarterback, Jamar Chase, top 5 wide receiver, T. Higgins, you know what I mean? A number of great offensive players, and you got Hill and Turner in the secondary. Hendrickson was their lone guy on the line. I mean, now Shamar Stewart, he was also another guy that was legit at Texas A&M, but he was still working on it, still getting to that place. And as a matter of fact, upsetting news that Shamar Stewart actually was carted off the field today in training camp. So we'll get an update later on to see kind of how that injury goes. I don't know what's going to happen, but they're really looking for him to improve, especially now that you don't have Trey Hendrickson anymore. But now with this injury, it's going to be interesting, man. They did get a couple other pieces. I talked about it, getting Jonathan Allen, getting Dexter Lawrence, getting Boye Mafe. Hopefully those guys will be able to fill in, and hopefully this injury for Shamar Stewart is not too devastating for him, but we're going to check that out going forward. But Trey Hendrickson was a consistent force. Absolutely a huge boost to their edge on the edge for them. I believe 2023, 2024, both 17 and a half sacks. He was injured most of last year and still had his impact when he could. I mean, look, this guy is absolutely a monster coming off that edge, but he was frustrated. Joe Burrow was hurt. The team was struggling. He wanted to make a move. He wanted to get out. Unfortunately, it did not happen for him last year. This offseason comes around. The Ravens are looking for help on that edge. They first go, they bring in Max Crosby. It's this big deal. They bring him in, they're ready, they're trying to sign him. Max Crosby failed the physical. So then that totally canceled that contract. And then kind of as time goes, you were looking, okay, well, excuse me, what's gonna happen? Who are they gonna do? And Henderson was still around. Step in, Jesse Mentor picked up Hendricks and that I mean defensive coach, great player. We already know how that defense looks. Patrick Queen on there, man. This is a huge move, in my opinion, for the Ravens. The Ravens, who very, very quickly could become or get back to being the class of the NFC or AFC North. And check it, the Bengals. I am somebody that has them as a sleeper. I think the Bengals could very easily win that division if that defense comes together, that the new pieces they've gotten, and that offense stays healthy. The Bengals we know can score with anybody at full strength, and if their defense can make a couple stops, that could be a big difference. Steelers, they got a couple pieces. Not sure how dominant, how good the Steelers will be. Ravens, I think the Ravens are going to be legit if they can keep Big King Henry and Lamar healthy. I think that's going to be a nice 1-2 punch for them. Going back to this year, obviously you know about the injuries that happened last year, but adding Henderson to defense, keeping that, you got Queen, get secondary, keeping those guys together. This could be a huge move with Hendrickson and what could end up being a legitimate and one of the best divisions in football this year. And obviously, Myles Garrett is out for the Browns. So we all know the Browns, it's not looking great for them. They're trying to play Deshaun Watson. Shador Sanders is potentially they're battling for that number one spot. It doesn't look good for the Browns, especially with how the things have gone with that front office. But I think the Browns are going to do a little bit better than what they have. But in that division, for me, it's my opinion, it's between the Ravens and the Bengals. I think the Bengals are going to turn things around this year. So we'll definitely have to see. The next signing that I think is going to highly impact the NFL and this year is Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray going from Arizona to Minnesota. And I think this is going to be huge. And look, a lot of people were out on Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray obviously had some great years with Arizona. I mean, there was a couple years where he had them, undefeated through 8 weeks or something like that. I mean, had them dominating, and whether it was injuries or just the fact that just the team kind of fell off, things just didn't end up working out. Then there was the whole big joke about Kyler Murray, he wasn't focused on the playbook. He was focused on the newest Call of Duty update and all that stuff. At the end of the day, this former Heisman Trophy winning quarterback can be a great QB. I think he got a bad rap, especially with how things kind of fell off over in Arizona. Now he's with a team that's got a trio of wide receivers and Justin Jefferson, who's arguably the best wide receiver in the league, Jordan Addison, and Juwan Jennings. 3 very legit wide receivers, a legit run game in there, a defense that I think is highly underrated but can definitely do big things. Hey, Kyler Murray, his mobility, his arm, I'm telling you, man, this could be a huge move for them. On top of the fact, now you got him in here with Kevin O'Connell's passing offense, a system built off play action passes, leveled reads, defined concepts. This guy, honestly, we've seen Kevin O'Connell has made a number of quarterbacks legit. You saw what he did with Sam Darnold. He had Carson Wentz playing good for a couple weeks. I mean, JJ McCarthy, obviously the injuries and just the overall youth played a major factor in why he struggled, but he even had JJ McCarthy looking decent at times, man. So I'm going to be honest. I think this is a huge upgrade for the Minnesota Vikings. Kyler Murray can play elite football. I believe it. I have always believed it, man. Ever since watching him in Oklahoma, the guy can play elite football. He is a dynamic quarterback, and if you get this guy on the right team in the right situation, I think he can have an epic season. You know what I mean? So watch out for this move, right? Especially in that division, man. Obviously, the Packers are looking good. The Bears with Caleb Williams are definitely trending up. In Detroit is the truth. I think what Kyler brings to the Vikings puts them on par with all three of those teams. And if you can get Kyler to play consistently with those guys, watch out. I'm telling you right now, watch out. The Minnesota Vikings can shock some people this year. So let's see how that whole thing plays out. Because I'm gonna be quite honest with you, I really am I'm really kind of psyched to see what Kyler Murray does with Kevin O'Connell and with the Minnesota Vikings coming into this season. All right, next person on this list is a solid pickup for another team that has been struggling year after year, but they slowly are building pieces. And that is the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm about to call them Oakland again. I called them Oakland yesterday. The Las Vegas Raiders, obviously, they've been pretty rough. They've had a high draft picks. You know, they picked Fernando Mendoza. They picked him up, and they just finally got him signed. Shout out to them. And they got a quality. They got a highly paid quarterback in Kirk Cousins. Look, the reason quality, I will always give Mister You Like That the benefit of the doubt. What his struggles in Atlanta. I don't know if it was a scheme. I don't think it's that point. He's past his prime. I think the guy can still play, but he absolutely struggled out there. He's not going to have the likes of the Bijan Robinson, but I'd argue Ashton Genty is going to give him a threat, a serious threat in that backfield. He's going to have a two-headed monster with Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer at tight end, man. He might have a couple pieces of wide receiver. And this is Fernando or Kirk Cousins. I think Kurt is great in-house for Fernando because they're good quality guys. And Kurt has been around the league. Okay. First and foremost, Fernando Mendoza needs to go to Kirk Cousins and be like, look, who's your agent? Because I need to get this guy to work contracts for me. The way Kirk Cousins has been getting guys, you know, the way Kirk Cousins has been getting paid and how his contracts have been going, that is a shout out to whoever his agent is, because he's getting it done. But bringing a guy like Tyler Linderbaum at center with that tone setting mentality, you know, bringing that from Baltimore, bringing that to the interior of the Raiders front, man, I'm going to be honest with you, man. This is a huge upgrade, an invaluable piece in terms of, like, you know, calling the protections, getting things, being the quarterback of that line. This guy right here is going to be a major impact. And again, I'm all for all the teams that looked as the smaller squads, the teams that nobody's looking at, the Cardinals, the Jets, you know, the Raiders over here. You know, I'm looking at these teams that a lot of people are just casting off immediately. And I want to see, how do they turn it around? How do they open things up and really make things happen and this coming year? And I think you bring in a Tyler Linderbaum and help solidify that offensive line. You know what I mean? We know about his foot speed, his body control. I mean, he can match the pass rushers, you know, speed and you know, help to get to that second level in the run game. This guy is probably top three, maybe even top two of centers from a year ago. I mean, he's amazing. He is absolutely probably the premier offensive linemen, offensive center in the game, and going to the Raiders, they are slowly building up a team. And I'm gonna be very honest with you. Obviously, it's hard to sit there and say, oh, the Raiders are going to be dominant. They're going to be X, Y, and Z. They got to play the Broncos, who are looking to get past the divisional round and healthy Bo Nix and try to get to get to the deeper in the playoffs, potentially Super Bowl. The Chiefs, obviously, getting Patrick Mahomes back. We already know how they're doing. And the Chargers, who have something to prove in the West, because everybody is already chopping them down. I'm telling you, the Raiders, who have stolen some victories over the last couple of years, watch out, man. Watch out for the Raiders, man. They could be something. They could absolutely be something. All right, we got to move on to the number 4 guy on this list, and that's Mike Evans, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to first tell you this: look, all of my Buccaneers fans, they have been really sitting here trying not to act like this matters. They've been really trying to kind of just pass this off like, man, it is what it is. Hey, he was looking for that time. But the funny part is, they have told me year after year how great Mike Evans is, how absolutely epic this guy is. I think it was first 9 seasons over 1,000 yards each season, 9 consecutive seasons. I think he matched Jerry Rice. I mean, listen, Mike Evans totally bullied Lattimore for when Lattimore was with the Saints and when he was with us. We know those epic battles, but when Lattimore was with Washington, he totally bullied Lattimore was up. I mean, he has the size, he has the ability, he has the hands. Him going to San Francisco, you're matching him with a healthy George Kittle. You got Brock Purdy. We don't know about this Brandon Ayuk situation and any of that stuff, so we'll see how that plays out. You're getting Christian McCaffrey back and healthy. Evans is going to step right in my opinion, and tear stuff up. I think Evans is going to continue his dominance this time in San Francisco, and perfect timing. Obviously, Seattle with Jackson Smith-Njigba, and you know how well he is. Obviously, the Rams with Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. So the wide receivers out there. Marvin Harrison Jr. with Atlanta, and Trey McBride at tight end, but still a great pass catcher. You know how legit the receivers are in there. Now you're bringing in a Mike Evans, who is probably by far, in my opinion, I think he's top 5. I think he's a top 5 pick, wide receiver in the league. And now he is with an offense that I think is going to be electric. Now, let me stop here and sit here and to send some love and some shout out to Kyle Shanahan. Obviously, for those of you who don't know, he was in that accident. It, you hate to hear it. From what he put out, he said, dropped his phone and kind of did one of those numbers and got it. Whatever the case was, you hate to hear that he got in this accident. Our prayers are going to him and the family. Hopefully, he can get back healthy, and not even for the football season. Don't even worry about the football season. More just to get you back and get you straight and set and ready to go just for your everyday. Because football, I know I love it, and I'll sit here and talk about it to the cows from home. But football, it will go. There is a life after football, and we want to make sure you're able to have that life and live it to the fullest. You know what I mean? So, shout out to him. Hopefully, he recovers and gets right. But in that offense, the offense that that they're going to have in San Francisco, Mike Evans, I think, is going to be a huge part. He steps in as a boundary X receiver and Kyle's offense. And I mean, he's an isolation target. He can open up the field. He's a monster in the red zone. I mean, just straight up boxes people out in that. And we already know Kyle Shanahan has a heavy play action offense, loves to get his ball, get the football out to his wide receiver in those open windows. And I mean, you are going to want to have this guy. This is the guy that I'm mad that Washington didn't pick him up. Obviously, probably weren't even in the running for him, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what he did. Okay, guy tops 1,000 yards in each of his first 11 seasons. So I was wrong. It was 11 seasons. I just said 9, tying Jerry Rice's career record. So we already know how epic this guy is. We already know how elite he is. And now him being over here in San Francisco in this offense, I think it's just going to bring him back. I think it's going to bring him back. We know the injuries from a year ago, but hopefully he's back and healthy from that, and his production gets right back up to what it normally is. I think this guy is a Hall of Famer with how well he's played. Already over 11,000 yards receiving. This is a big move. In my opinion, this is absolutely a big move for the 49ers. And last on this list, shout out to Jalen Phillips. And I'm in the Carolina area, man, so they're hyped. We're going to be talking about Luke Kuechly a little bit tomorrow, man, and getting down with that. Jalen Phillips, and this is just an absolute great addition to the Carolina. I mean, they had 30 sacks in 2025, which was 28th in the league. They just lost Nick Scorton to an ACL injury. You know, Phillips, a 3-4 outside linebacker. This guy is going to be great. Versatile, edge setter. I mean, the guy is great in pass rush. He can drop back in coverage. Listen, if they get him healthy and Phillips is able to just emulate exactly what he did when he played in Philly, this guy can be this guy can totally turn up the entire game for the Panthers. I mean, I really think this guy could be the addition that the Panthers need to totally take that defense over the top. If this guy stays healthy, we got to make sure that he stays healthy. Obviously, with Philly, obviously with Miami, we know that the guy is legit. Injuries cut some of his season short. We understand that. But if they get him at full health, I think this is one of the premier pickups going into 2026. And I'm going to be honest with you. This can fill a major hole, and this could actually help take some pressure off of Bryce Young and that offense going forward, man. And I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see what happens with Jalen Phillips, what we do. Hey, down here in Carolina, they're all hyped. They're all into it. They want to know what's going to happen. And I got my eyes on it, man. I want to see what's up. So, this is Matt Bowen's list. Top 5 NFL signings coming in 2026. You got Trey Hendrickson, Kyler Murray, Tyler Linderbaum, Mike Evans, and Jalen Phillips, man. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know how y'all feel. Top 5 NFL signings coming into this year. And tune in with me when I come back on here, potentially think tomorrow, and talk about the top 5 draft selections going into this year, man. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know where you guys stand. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick breather, ladies and gentlemen, man. And I gotta take a quick water break, man. But this is Off the Wall Sports, brought to you by Off the Wall Media. I'm your boy Sean Spencer, and we're gonna be right back. Talk about some NFC East. I gotta talk about my Washington Commanders. You know I gotta do that. All right. But check out this video, my guys. Let's talk football. Let's get it.
Episode of Let's Talk Football. Yep. I am Janae Struthen.
I am Sean Spencer.
I am Janae Struthen.
I'm Sean Spencer.
And this is Let's Talk Football. Season 3, we are back. We are back.
That's right.
What's up, Mom?
Go.
Mr. Nick, I want the smoke, Rosario.
Hey, what's happening, kids? How we doing?
Janae, Sean, thanks for having me.
We like to him.
We make the talk football and basketball. Raise
Is Carson back?
When everyone played to the last play. There's other leagues like Raiders.
this. All right. I am Janae Struther,
I'm Sean Spencer.
and this is Let's Talk Football.
Yeah, buddy. That was my crew, myself, Sean Spencer, obviously my co-host Janae Struther. We are a part of Let's Talk Football. You got to get with us this fall. To be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, if you want some funny, if you want some humor, some informative, you want some banter back and forth, you want some, picks, some attention, whatever you want, Let's Talk Football's got it for you. This will be going on the 9th season for myself and Janae Struther. I believe the roundtable will be going on its 8th season, ladies. I think it's about 6 or 7. And it is something that I'm super hyped for. We also got a college show that I got to coordinate with my guy, Alex Loosemore, where we can bring up all the college stuff. And hey, stay tuned, because I'm going to do a special report on the UNC Tar Heels, man. Michael Lombardi placed on administrative leave. UNC is not looking good, and we are just literally about a month away from having to go to Dublin, Ireland, and play TCU, who whooped us. I think it was 48-14 a year ago. So this is going to be an interesting season, to say the least. I will say, coming into this season, UNC has I think the 25th best recruiting class. So I'm hyped about that. But with everything else going on and all the expectations of Bill Belichick and all the people that he brought in, we need to do better than 4-8. It should go without saying. But hey, we're gonna go ahead and say it anyway. But look, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, and we are talking sports, man. I'm talking football, because football is a week and a day away, and I cannot be more excited. To see what happens this season. And obviously, if you know me, I'm a diehard Washington Commanders fan. Shout out to my guys, JD5, Terry McLaurin. Wow, getting down with it, man. So I am so hyped to see kind of what happens in Washington. And then obviously I got to pay attention to Philly. Got to pay attention to the Dallas daggone Cowboys and the New York Giants. So many different things that have been happening. And I am just eager to see kind of where it all goes for us this coming year. So look, let's dive right into it. Let's talk about it, because with these teams, I mean, hey, you got to ask that main question: who's going to win the division? Who's going to take the division? Who is going to be the team that's going to take over for us? And listen, there are so many different expectations we have coming into it. Obviously, with Washington, you go from winning the NFC, you win the division. You go, or no. I don't think we won the division that year. You go into the playoffs. You beat the daggone. Yeah, we lost. The Philly won that division. We go to the playoffs 2024. We beat the Buccaneers. We beat the Lions, and get stomped, straight up dog walk by the Eagles, who go on to win the Super Bowl that year. Last year we come back, high expectations, 4 wins. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like what? Like, what's going on with that, man? But that's how things played out. That's kind of how things go for us. Dallas, we know how star-studded their team is. Their defense has been the thing that's kind of had them struggling. Now they have pieces on their defense. They have guys that have come together and really could make them a formidable force. We're going to see the Giants. So many expectations for the New York Giants. New head coach, brought in a couple more pieces, great draft picks. What is that going to look like? And then the Philadelphia Eagles. No more A.J. Brown. We know Kellen Moore left last year to go to the Saints, so they're trying to figure out, this will be year 2 with Sean Mannion, an offensive coordinator. What does that look like? Different pieces on the defense. They just re-signed Jalen Carter, but how else does that look? These are all things that we have got to check out, and I, for one, I'm super hyped to see what happens. But real quick, I do gotta take a quick breather. I am going to shout out All College Western Wear. Check this out. I'll be right back.
Howdy, y'all. Sean Spencer here. Today we're going to take a look at a little piece of Southern country right here in Midwest home, downtown Chicago. Looking for boots? They've got them. Looking for chaps? Not a problem. Looking for hats? They've got that. Find your piece of country living.
Now, buddy, shout out to All College Western Wear and everything they got. Listen, let's start with Cowboys, okay? I hate to start with Dallas, but let's get them out of the way. Obviously, we know what their offense looks like. You have Dak Prescott, okay? And whether I like to say it or not, Dak Prescott is an elite quarterback, okay? I'm not going to go as far as my partner, Janae Strutler, to talk about he's on his Hall of Fame tenure and all that nonsense. Listen, he can pass the ball. Their offense is surrounded by it's fixed on him passing. We know his ability. The guy can throw it. Now you have a CeeDee Lamb, you have a George Pickens. We know Pickens had 93 receptions a year ago, and we know how they can't be on that offense. They got Javonte Williams, my guy from North Carolina, went to the Broncos and then got traded over there. They know how dominant that offense is. What they focused on in the draft and kind of the offseason, they got to solidify that defense. I believe there's 7 new offensive starters, if I'm not mistaken. We know they got Caleb Downs. That is going to be what is we want to see what happens. That's going to be, can they gel and come together? That offense is great, but the defense left you wanting. And shout out to my Cowboys fans. I know they will sit there and tell you this. Their defense was good, no doubt about it, but it wasn't great. It didn't do what they needed it to do last year. And I'm going to be honest with you, that defense definitely, if they can get an elite defense, if they can get a defense that could build things up for them in Dallas, they could easily go deep in the playoffs. That offense is electric. I'll give Dak Prescott a hard time for, you can't win in the playoffs. You struggle, X, Y, and Z. Dak Prescott is elite, period. He has the weapons that can get it done. The run game is there. He has a line. Is that offense? I look at them kind of like Cincinnati. Now, I will go a little bit better. I like their run game a little bit more than I like Cincinnati's run game. But what I will say is Dak Prescott on that offense, if their defense can give them help, give them the ball a little bit more, I'm going to be honest with you, man. I think this team could be a team that goes to the division or even the championship game. I'm not going to sit here and say Super Bowl because it ain't going to happen. But anything can happen in the league. And I think with Dallas, I think one of their biggest things is consistency, especially on defense. Can you consistently play well on defense? Can they get over the hump? I know they go toe-to-toe with Philly, but, they've struggled a little bit here and there, especially when Philly was at the top of their game. They got our number. I mean, let's be very honest. I hate to say it, but Dallas absolutely has our number. And the Giants, what Giants team we're going to look at this year, Dallas could very easily win the division this season. I hate saying this. You got to understand that. But realistically, with how powerful that offense is, Dak is in MVP voting every year. He's in leading the league, or at least top 5 in the league in passing every year. The guy is electric, and he doesn't get enough credit for how well he can play. And this, you really have to understand how much this pains me to say, but I love talking this game, so I'll definitely give him his due. That offense is definitely catered to his ability to pass, that two-headed monster wide receiver in the run game. Dak is the truth, man. So if they can get that defense to help out and that defense to really kind of, gel and make a conservative effort to really, up their game, this could be a very dangerous team. Very, very dangerous team going forward. So we'll see how that looks in this coming year. But Dallas could be a squad that, I'm going to be very honest with you, they could be somebody to be feared. And look, they got our number, like I've said right now. So Washington, I just want to beat Dallas. That's it. I'm gonna say it. I just want to beat Dallas. All right, Danae, I don't know if you hear, but I'm gonna say it. I just need to beat y'all. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. All right, yo, we got to move on to I think the team that provides the biggest question mark, but also has the most. They're a team that a lot of people anticipate. What are they going to look like? We really want to know what kind of New York Giants team this is going to be. Right? I'm excited to see the New York Giants, man. How will New York deal with the increased expectations, new head coach, loads of talent? I mean, listen, you lose a couple pieces, okay? Lose Dexter Lawrence, all right? Your coach is out. You bring in Harbaugh, all right? He brings in some of his guys from the Ravens. He brings in a winning mentality. He's got a Super Bowl victory under his belt. The Giants, for all intents and purposes, the Giants are the biggest what if, in my opinion. But to be honest with you, the Giants could also be the biggest surprise of this season. We know Bill Carter on defense. We know Burns on defense. We know how good that defense could be. They've got a number of pieces on that offense. Jackson Dart played very well. I think the biggest question marks would probably be obviously Malik Neighbors and probably be Cam Scatterbo. Both of them dealt with injury issues. Cam Scatterbo had the issue with his ankle, and then his aggressive style of play has caused him to have a number of concussions. Then you have Malik Neighbors and, the knee injury. So, and the thing about that is, Malik Neighbors obviously gets hurt, I think week 4, has a surgery, and then immediately, like a month or so later, has to have another surgery to kind of work on the meniscus and everything. And then early in the spring has another surgery with it, and it's just that you already felt a little concerned, is he coming back? What's it look like? Can he be dominant? And then you see the Giants get insurance policy. They bring in Odell Beckham Jr., Juju Smith-Schuster, Braxton Berrios. That's 3 wide receivers, okay? 3 wide receivers that, yes, maybe past their prime, but can still play in the league. But those 3 wide receivers combined at this time, I don't know that they can equally the production that Malik Neighbors had. Malik Neighbors had, if I'm not mistaken, over 90 receptions and over 1,200 yards receiving. And if I'm not mistaken, he might have had over 100 receptions in his rookie year. This guy was second in the Rookie of the Year runnings to Jaden Daniels, his buddy from LSU. So losing that production could be a huge loss for the New York Giants. And bringing these guys in, while they might be stopgaps, they might be a bridge to him getting back and getting healthy. I don't think you realistically, especially not long term, you're not looking at these guys like they're going to be the next guy. Now, that's my personal opinion. And I just think the Giants, that is going to be a big issue to see how quickly they can kind of get in. Obviously, they're veterans. Let's see how they can all get in with Harbaugh, how quickly that will work. The injury issues between a couple of those players, how quickly they can get healthy and truly, really, maximize their production on offense. And then obviously the elephant in the room. Now, and this winning cures all. We know that. You start winning some games, people are concerned. But Jackson Dart, before the season, obviously going out, introducing the president who incidentally in his first term, the first thing he did was, ban all Muslims and shut all that down. Abdul Carter, who his family wore the Muslim guard. Like, there's friction there, okay? These are young guys, and they're very vocal with how they feel. Harbaugh's coming in here, older guy, trying to mesh them. Obviously, Harbaugh had some issues in Carolina, in Baltimore. Now he's coming over here. That's going to be very interesting to see how he handles that, how that affects them. If one side of the ball starts to struggle, do they start talking bad-mouthing X, Y, and Z? Who knows? But that could be a major factor going forward. And like I said, you win enough games, people forget it all already happened. And I guarantee right now, Now the football is back. A lot of people outside of New York have completely forgot what's going on with that. So we're going to see. I'm going to be very honest with you. I don't know what to expect. Neighbors in camp, they're saying at the first practice, they're saying he looked good. He's out there. Can he be full health? I think that's going to be the question that everybody's going to ask. They start the season with Dallas, and then they go to LA and they play the Rams. Then they get two decent ones with the Titans and the Cardinals, games that they should potentially win, and then they got Commanders and then Saints. So to be honest with you, their early part of their season is very favorable for the Giants. So if the Giants could get roll off a couple early wins, build up some confidence, then by the time you get to the Texans and Eagles and Washington and Jacksonville and all of that, the harder part of the schedule, then you might have a little bit more confidence that's going to help you down the line. So the New York Giants, man, this is a team that a lot of people are watching out for. A lot of people want to see what kind of team is it going to be going forward. And I'm going to be quite honest with you. This is one of those teams that I've got my eyes on. My family, my dad, my brothers, all from New York. So I'm definitely eager to see kind of what the Giants bring to the table. Moving right along to another team in this division, the Philadelphia Eagles, baby. Can they get back championship form? I think is the biggest question. You've got to ask this. Can they get back to that 2024 form when they crushed Washington in the championship game? They crushed the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. They were by far the best team in the league. They absolutely dominated throughout that season. And I'm going to be honest, man. Last year was a huge disappointment, getting bounced in the first round of the playoffs. Saquon didn't play up up to standard, his standard. Obviously, the whole Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, drama was going on in the locker room. We knew about the beginning of the season that started off with the famous spit seen around the world, between Dallas and Philly. There was a black cloud over the season. Offense and defensive coordinator had moved on after the Super Bowl win, and Philly they were in this thing, and it just seemed like they were kind of sleepwalking through the season. You still win it, you still do well through season and well enough to make the playoffs, but you just can't seem to figure it out. You couldn't seem to figure it out in Philly, not to the level of what they do, and we all know. There's that Super Bowl hangover. We already understand only the really elite teams can go back to back to back. They were not able to do it. And I think the biggest question is what happens now? Obviously, AJ Brown out in New England, which to some degree is probably better because now that's going to be a lot less drama in-house, with Jalen Hurts and him. Saquon, what's going to happen with Saquon? How well is he going to play? Is he going to get back to the form that he had in 2024? You know what I mean? How is he going to do? Obviously, they made it a point to re-sign or extend Jalen Carter. He gets that massive deal of being 40 years, $152 million. Became the highest paid D tackle in NFL history. Great move. You keep those guys, the defense, you keep them going. I think the main question is year 2, Sean Mannion at OC with Jalen Hurts. How well do they mesh? How well do they get back to basics? Can they bring back that chemistry, that toughness, that ability to dominate that they had in 2024? I mean, we literally saw them steamroll Washington and the Chiefs late in the season. They were playing their best ball deep into the season. And when you look at that team, you sat there and thought to yourself, if they keep these guys together, they're not going to lose. They're not going to lose. And, unfortunately, as what happens in Super Bowls, people go different places, teams, kind of break up X, Y, and Z. Excuse me. And we saw that in this team. But this is going to be, in my opinion, a bounce back year for Philly. Philly is really, they are really focused on trying to return to that greatness and really kind of making the main thing the main thing. You know what I mean? Let's squash all the outside noise, focus on what we need to focus on, and get back on top. Philly has been dominating the division for the last several years, man, culminating in that Super Bowl victory a couple years ago. And I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of people sleeping on Jalen Hurts, a lot of people having issues with him. I think he is an elite quarterback. I think the way that he plays is top of the line, and I think now if you can get him and what's his name, Saquon Barkley going and dominating. You have, Devonta Smith and Jahan Dotson and a number of wide receivers that you can really start to mesh and mold and push. I think that defense, we know what they're going to hold. I think that offense is going to be okay. And I think this is a playoff team. And if they can get hot at the right time, they can go deep in the playoffs. I still think that, and it's going to be interesting to see. Barring any injuries, or any other off the field nonsense, I think Philly is going to be prime and ready to take back the division. Because Philly is ready, and I've seen them. I love what Philly brings to the table. They're another team that we struggle with, but we tend to play decent against. I'm gonna be honest with you. We've had we've had good fortune against Philly, but Philly is going to be a team that I definitely have my eyes on because I'm gonna be quite honest with you. Philly, they're that ish. They're that team. So look, one more team, and I had to save the best for last. Shout out to my Washington Commanders. Man, here we go, baby. Here we go. I am so ready to watch, and it's going to be interesting this year. I'm in Carolina, so the local team is the Panthers. So I'm going to have to try to find a way to watch games potentially later or catch highlights. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm excited to figure it out because I'm going to have to figure it out. But I think everybody with this year, I think we are kind of in the same line as Philly is. We're trying to get back to 2024. Last year was brutal for Washington fans. After the trade deadline, I don't believe we won a game. We went 4-13 last year and truly struggled. Jonathan Allen was with Minnesota. He was getting out. Obviously, Montez, he was out a couple years ago. Like, there's a lot of our defensive players that were big. Lattimore didn't do anything. Our secondary was poor. Our defense struggled. Wagner, albeit great linebacker, showed his age. Our D-line just was not up to par. We couldn't stop the run. We had a hard time stopping the pass. It was just one of those seasons on defense where, the dam broke. I'm going to put it to you like that. Worse just got worse. That's even, you know what I mean? Like, it was hard to watch last year, especially coming off that amazing season a couple years ago where you took it all the way to the NFC Championship. And I'm gonna be real honest with it. Scott Taylor in there. So I got here late, my friend. What's up, Scott? How you doing, buddy? Hey, Scott, I don't know if you're still in here. If you're still in here, man, let me know. Is Aaron Donald coming back, man? People keep trying to send me stuff saying he might potentially come back, but I don't know. But as far as Washington, man, look, we have made a number of moves, okay? Picked up Sonny Styles in the draft, got a wide receiver in Antonio Williams, got another running back in Kaytron Allen, okay? Got a couple pieces, I got a backup center, obviously. Now, Laramie Tunsil and the Oregon guy, Josh Connerly. We got them at tackles, trying to figure out this O-line. Allegretti moves over to center, and then Cosme over at right guard. Left guard is still kind of an issue. Got to figure it out. The biggest thing for us, who is that number 2? We know Terry McLaurin is in at 1. We got a couple of the pieces. We got Diami back and Luke McCaffrey and, Tony Williams in the draft and, was that Traylon Burks, trying to figure out who's that wide receiver. Number of guys we ended up getting in and running back was Rashard Wright and Jeremy Ford and, Little Bill, Corey Krosky-Merritt's coming back from last year. Obviously, I talked about Kaytron Allen. Our offense are trying to figure it out. We're trying to what's going to work. How can we do it? And the X factor at the end of the day, we know is JD5, Jaden Daniels. Can he return back to his rookie of the year form? Can he be that X factor? Obviously, the injuries plagued his season last year. Can he be? Are you kidding? Coming soon? For real, Scott? Let me know. Confirm that. Can Jalen Hurts, can Jaden Daniels be the epic force, the straw that stirs the drink for us again that's last year? Because he hit a lot of issues that we had in that 2024 season. Dan Dan Quinn needs it because I think a lot of people are looking at him like, if you have another 4-13 season, we might have to make some moves at head coach. One of the things he did, switched his offensive and defensive coordinator. You got David Blau, you have Durante Jones. What will that look like? What will that look like for us now on offense and defense? David Blau is really looking to push up really looking to push up Terry McLaurin and focus a lot on him. We know Terry McLaurin got paid a year ago, so they're going to try to see if they can't focus him, really get him going. Durante Jones on defense. We know he came from the Vikings. He was there working with them, and they had a really legit defense. And number of pieces that were brought over here. Adafe Owe is over here now. We picked up, like I said, Sonny Styles, Leo Chanel, couple younger linebackers. Get Nick Cross from the Colts to pair with our guys, and Meek Robertson from the Lions. A number of pieces on the defense. Both sides of the ball are revamped. We got depth. We are a team that I believe can be a legit team. I mean, I don't know that we get more than 8 or 9 wins unless we get a couple of breaks here and there. But I mean, we start off the season Philly, Dallas, and then I believe Seattle. Then we go to London to play the Colts. Then we have the Giants, and then we got San Francisco. So the first 6 games, if we play like we played last year, we can easily be 1-6. We can easily be 1-6 or 1-5. I mean, and that's something that I'm very worried about. I'm very worried about because even after then we have a bye week, and then we got to play the Eagles again, and then the Rams. You know what I mean? So and then the Giants. So this could be a tough season for us. But I think the name of the game was health. I think the name of the game is chemistry, camaraderie, come together. Let's see what we can bring together. I mean, listen, everybody wants to know what's JD5's status. Is he going to be that elite talent that he was in year 1? Or is Jaden Daniels going to struggle again? One of the things we've known is that if Jaden Daniels doesn't have a run game, then Jaden Daniels could be a big problem. He definitely struggled without that run game. So if Jaden Daniels can get that run going again and he can get his guys moving that way, that could be a huge factor in the success that we have. Top of that, defense. We need to steal some possessions. We need our secondary to come up with some interceptions. Our defense to come up with some sacks, some stops, some forced fumbles. Our defense needs to play a major factor for us. We were a very much bend but don't break defense 2 years ago. Last year, the dam broke. This year, we need our defense to step up. And if our defense does not step up, then I fear it's going to be another struggling season. So I don't know fully what to expect in Washington. If I'm being honest, I'm excited. I'm excited. And Scott said, if Aaron Donald doesn't get picked up, we will pick up Vita Vea. Listen, who knows, right? I mean, Vita Vea, that might be a spot he wants to go to, man. That's a great defense, and that would be a great addition to that squad. So we'll see. But as far as Washington, listen, I'm hoping for the best. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I think with having Dan Quinn his back against the wall, having JD5 having to prove that first season wasn't a fluke, kind of looking, at some of these new pieces on defense and some of these. Potentially Stephon Diggs there's been some conversation about us potentially getting Stephon Diggs. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about, what's the guy, Brandon Ayuk from San Francisco. Personally, You can miss me with that, but who knows? Who knows what's going to happen and how? So as we get close to the preseason, I believe we play the Dolphins first. I think it's on the 10th. So we're getting close. We're getting close to that time, man. And I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm excited, but I'm going to temper my expectations just because coming off of last year and then coming off of 2 years ago, we've seen how high and how low we can get, man. So hopefully things either even out. I'll take things evening out as long as we're building up to that consistent success. That's what's going to be. But injuries and the lack of injuries are the name of the game. Chemistry is the name of the game. What can these new coordinators do? Can they be elite? And hey, we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Yeah, buddy. So look, ladies and gentlemen, that was my outlook at the NFC East. In my opinion, if you want my opinion, I think Dallas is going to take the division. I hate to say it. And to answer the question, who will win the division, I think Dallas has got it. I honestly, with the pieces they have on offense, if they get that defense together, I think they can steal one from the Eagles. Right now, I think they got our number, and I think they could, potentially beat the Giants twice. Maybe the Giants can, get one on them. I don't know, but I think the Dallas is going to take that division. I hate to say that, but I think it's the truth, man. So we'll see if they can live up to that, or we'll see if somebody else shocks the world. Like I said, I don't know what to really expect from the Giants. They have the talent, they have the coaching. Can they put it all together? We got to stay healthy. Philly is trying to get back to 2024 form, without AJ Brown on that team, which is definitely a big hole for them, man. At Washington, hey, I'm just excited football's back, So we're going to see what happens, man. And I'm super excited, man. I'm going to take a quick breather to shout out a show that will be coming on potentially tomorrow. I'm not exactly sure, but we're going to make that happen because I got to talk to my guy about it. So we'll see. But check out this preview.
Are you good with this? Are you excited about this?
Absolutely. I will talk about anything. Let's do this.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Truth Be Told, where honestly, it's in the name.
Shout out to Truth Be Told, myself, my friend Nicholas Rosario. Trying to coordinate with him. We might go on tomorrow afternoon. I got to kind of see what the schedule and everything is like, but we might go on there tomorrow afternoon. And if we do, we will be talking about the NFL. Ladies and gentlemen, is it fixed? All this sports betting, all this gambling, we've seen all these sports where people have been caught, point shaving, betting on games, betting on teams, baseball, basketball, boxing, football, everything. So we look back at a couple games in football and say, is it fixed? I am not going to go that far and say that, but there might be some evidence to the contrary. So we'll dive into that and see. You guys let me know what your thoughts are. So without further ado, we got one more segment for you. Yeah, buddy. Yes, sir. One last word. One last word where we give you just a little bit more. Something to leave you off with, something that you could take with you and take on the road. And ladies and gentlemen, my one last word for today. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. Ladies and gentlemen, when I first heard that, and I've said that to many people, I took it as a literal. Tonight, a good deal of pain. Tomorrow, things are going to be okay. That is not a quote that is meant to be taken literal. When it says weeping may endure for a night, but joy coming in the morning, that night may be long. Some nights when you're going through it, they are long. Some aren't nights at all. They're long periods of time. And then you finally see it on the other side. We've heard about it. You finally see that light at the end of the tunnel. You finally see, oh, we're getting back to that place. Ladies and gentlemen, after working at least one, if not two jobs for going on 20 to 25 years, when I moved out here in April, didn't set it up, didn't have a job. April, May, June, July. This weekend will be August, ladies and gentlemen. 5, April, May, June, July. Going into my 5th month without having a job. Let's see. Praise God. Finally got that gig, and now potentially having 2. We'll be starting the 2nd week of July or of August. So I am so excited to finally get back into work and finally get back to doing what just being productive, doing something that I do like doing, which is working, making a living, making things happen. With that being said, one thing that I will say from all of this is when you're in those seasons and when you are going through the weeping, when you're going through the dark days, when you're struggling, when you're really having to figure it out, one of the things that is key through those times, okay, is to make sure that you are solidifying the parts of you. You know, sometimes when you go through those situations, we tend to wallow. First part of it, I 100% wallowed. I just boo-hoo, woe is me, I can't get this done, X, Y, and Z. As you go through, you start to recognize who's around. Start to recognize maybe this is a time where there's things that I need to be working on. There's a time that I need to prepare myself because it's not always going to be like this. You know, there's a phrase, and we've heard it in the Bible, we've heard it in different places, said, this too shall pass. You're going to go through the storm sometime. You're going to go through some dark days without a shadow of a doubt. There's nobody that is going to be immune to going through those tough times. But the key is when you're going through those tough times, that's when you lean on what the foundations that you have. That's when you try to figure out what it is that I need to do to help build myself up. So when that time comes, when I can get back to what I need to get back to, will I be prepared for it? I'm going to be very honest with you. It was very tough in those days. A lot of things that I was dealing with, did not think they were going to end. And the longer it got, the more stressful and painful it got. But one thing I will say is that through all of it, I kept that focus. I had a support system around me that was absolutely legit. They were key. They had my back. They kept me positive and motivated. I went through some days where I didn't want to get out of bed, you know, but there was a lot of times in the midst of that where I found outlets, started walking, doing that. You guys have seen me walking in the morning. Started focusing on doing some of these shows more often so I can hone my craft of talking in front of a camera, being by myself, just talking to y'all. Excuse me. Went out and started to really get out of my comfort zone, really build myself up so that when it's time for me to go back, I can take some of those tools with me. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, weeping may endure for a night. You're going to go through pain. Sometimes a night is not just a night, it might be weeks. My case, nearly 5 months. But joy will come in the morning. There's going to be a brighter day. There's going to be a brighter day. And when that brighter day comes, make sure that you are ready to receive it. So while you're going through it, don't stay down there. Don't wallow. Keep working on yourself. Keep pushing towards the future. Keep preparing yourself so that when you get that job, when you get what you're expecting, when you get that next step, you're ready for it, man. So, hey, that's where I'm at. This has been your one last word, my people, and I am so excited that y'all came and kicked it with me for a little bit. But I got to get out of here. I got to go, man. Sean Spencer, see that? We on air. We about to be off air. Peace, my people. I hope y'all have a good evening. I will talk to y'all on the flip side. Peace in the Middle East. Rain in Spain.
Gentlemen, it is your boy, Sean Spencer. We on air, people. We are live. And welcome to Live with Sean Spencer, your boy. Yo, so glad to be here with you guys.
That sun shining on me.